Pause the video now, have a go at the question and press play when you're ready for the solution. So this is a three-part question, and in the question you're given the volume of a sphere, and in part A you're asked to find the surface area of the sphere. So first off, let's write down the general formula for the volume of a sphere. So 4/3 pi r cubed. Okay, and now let's write down the formula for the surface area of the cube. So that's surface area equals 4 pi r squared. I always think of it as 4 circles. You'll be given both of these in the exam, but why not remember them? So you can see that we're going to need the radius for both of these. So if we're given that the volume is 288 pi, and we know that equals 4/3, terrible form, pi r cubed. If we rearrange this, we can find out what r cubed is. To begin with, to make my life easier, I'm just going to cancel the pi on both sides, and then we can see here, we can write r cubed equals 288. We multiply both sides by 3 and divide both sides by 4. So that will give us, we type that into the calculator, 288 times by 3 all over 4 is equal to 216. So we know r cubed equals 216, so we just do the cube root. So the cube root of 216 is 6, but you'd have a calculator for that as well. So we know the radius is 6 centimetres. And now all we have to do is plug that into our surface area formula. So the surface area is going to equal 4 pi times 6 squared. So that's going to be 6 squared is 36, so 36 times 4 pi. So 36 times 4 is 120 plus 24, so that's 144 pi. So centimetres squared, because it's an area. So I'll give it you to 3 significant figures as well. So 144 pi is, oh no, I'll do 2 decimal places. 452.39 centimetres squared. And just make sure you're aware of what the question is asking you to leave it as, so whether that's in terms of pi or to a certain number of significant figures or decimal places. So in part B of the question, we're asked to find the surface area of half a sphere or a hemisphere. So we're going to use these 2 bits of information from part A. So the surface area of a whole sphere, or this sphere, is 144 pi, and the radius of the sphere is 6. Now, what loads of people will do in this question, it's a really common mistake, they'll just take the surface area of the sphere and they'll divide it by 2. But if we draw a diagram, so let's, not a great diagram, I never promised that. If we think that the curved surface area here, that is going to be 144 pi divided by 2, right? So I'm going to write that as the curved surface area. So that's just going to be 144 pi divided by 2. So that's going to be 72 pi. So that's this bit here. But we also have to take into account that the bottom of the hemisphere is going to have just a circle on there. So we know that the area of a circle is pi r squared. So we just need area of circle. So pi r squared, so we've got pi times 6 squared, which is 36 pi. And then we just add these 2 things together. So we've got 72 pi plus 36 pi, which will give us our total area. So that's going to be 108 pi. In part C of the question, we're asked to find the surface area of a quarter of a sphere. Okay. And once again, people will make a really common mistake of just taking the surface area of the total sphere and dividing it by 4. But as we know from part B, that's just the curved surface area we're talking about. Now I'm going to attempt to draw a diagram here, and hopefully you don't laugh when you see it. So, let's have a go. I can't, that's so bad. Okay, so now we're on to part C of the question. Notice that I'm in different clothing and we're in a different room. I spent the evening going home to practice drawing quarter spheres. As you can see, I did a grand job of it. But anyway, let's move on to the question. So we want to find the surface area of a quarter sphere. So once again, people make the common mistake of just taking the surface area and dividing it by 4, but we can't do that. As you can notice on the diagram, the curved surface area would be the surface area of the whole thing divided by 4. Okay, so let's work that out first. So the curved surface area is equal to 144 pi divided by 4. So that's 36 pi. Okay, so that's the curved surface area. Now you can see that we have a semicircle and then another semicircle on top. So that's just one full circle. Okay, so we know that the area of a circle is pi r squared. So we've just got pi times 6 squared, which is 36 pi. 36 pi plus 36 pi equals 72 pi. Don't forget units, centimetres squared. And that's our final answer.